All right. Welcome to episode 3 of the Corn Man podcast. This be the POC, Prince Robbo, baby. So we gonna expand on the importance of having a big homie, a OG in the game, a big bro. You feel me? A father figure in a way. But now, since I done covered my big bro, Big G, R.I.P, we gon' continue this on, talk about some more big homies of mine. I want to say R.I.P to one of my homies from Jackson, California, JC the Jungle, Weedy. So Weedy was one of my big homies from when I was a shorty, growing up on Gladys Street. Weedy stayed around the corner on Jackson Boulevard, which was right next to the Jackson store, aka the Royal Blue. So Weedy was pretty much he was shot and killed in the year 2005, which was the same year I started my freshman year in high school. And I hadn't seen Weedy in a long time, since I remember him coming to holler at me on G Street, aka Gladys. So pretty much my pops always kept me close knit, close by. And pretty much I didn't really know Weedy like that, you feel me? But I saw my pops was really fond of him when he did come around, and he would be talking with my pops whenever I was I would stop playing with my cousins or whatever, and or maybe it was just nobody else around, and that's what made him stand out, or what made me stand out to him, because he knew my name, I knew his name, and we just he would throw the baseball, and we would play catch and shit like that, and we would hoop in the playground across the street at the time, and then eventually he'd go back home around the corner. Whatever he was getting into, I didn't know about. All I know is this nigga was you feel me? He was like a big bro to me. So he would always come around the corner, talk to pops, talk about sports, or potentially doing, some baseball or softball. So my pops was always pushing, sports on all the young guys around the neighborhood, But it didn't work for everybody, and it didn't work for me either. But like myself and a lot of other guys, we all chose our own paths, but we always had, something in common, which was sports, which was the playground. That's where everybody came to show their athletic skills, show their exercising skills, whether it was girls jumping rope, or we running around playing tag or whatever, or we hooping. We actually hooping on the rims, basketball rim. You feel me? So Weedy was a generation ahead of me. You know what I'm saying? And then there was generations before him and generations before that. But pretty much if my pops co-signed this dude, I was fucking with him until I didn't see him really no more. So I say I was seeing Weedy probably at the age of 7 or 8 years old. And then I remember seeing him again at 14. And at this time I believe he was doing his thing in the street life or whatever. And as soon as I started my freshman year of high school at Crane Tech Prep, you feel me? I remember at the same time, okay, now let's fast forward. Now 2005, right? Weedy was no longer in the picture. I hadn't seen him in a long time. I was living with moms at the time, actually. So that year I graduated 8th grade. that following year, started Crane in the month of September. So I seen Weedy in the month of September. I ain't seen the man in years, bro. Walked to the Jackson store because I had just moved back to Pop's crib because some other shit just happened where I had to move back for a minute. So I walked to the Jackson store and I see Weedy tall in a motherfucker. He's tall, lanky, and I see he out there, handling his business. But I noticed he looked at me and he noticed me from down the block. But it looked like he didn't have time to really just stop doing what he was doing. So he kept moving around. So I went in the store. Or maybe he was looking at me because he didn't want me seeing him doing that. So he was looking real cautiously at me. And I went in the store, got whatever I was getting. When I came back out, he wasn't out there. Then now I'm already in school at this time. Actually, this is like the first week of school and shit, freshman orientation, all that stuff. But yeah. Eventually, a week later or 2 weeks later, that's when I overhear my pops talking about Weedy in the car. One of his friends talking about he had got shot and killed on the corner. I'm like, what the fuck? Like it was just a drive-by, like Weedy was my man's, right? But now knowing what I know, I know everybody's relations. I know who's who. I know what gang is gangs. What gang is what gang, you feel me? So it's like Weedy was folks. Pretty much G Street and JC, it's all 6-point star type shit going on. Point blank period. Now it's a lot of outsiders who come over and make money. It's a lot of newcomers who's growing up over here. It's a lot of new neighbors over here. But as far as traditionally, when Michael Jordan used to play ball at the Marillac House and shit over here, at that time, you knew that you had to get stamped by the GDs over here. I didn't grow up. I wasn't coming up at that time. I was still a shorty, so none of that shit really, it wasn't really relevant to me. So by the time I was coming up with my rap shit, everything was pretty much done with. Marillac House there wasn't no court no more to hoop at Marillac. Wasn't no basketball court or no playground no more on Gladys Street. Wasn't no more center, no California West Side youth build on Cali and Van Buren or Cali and Gladys Street no more. So pretty much when Weedy died, a lot of other shit died with that. So that was the first time I ever experienced a close by homeboy who was like a big homie to me, who lost his life due to gun violence. So R.I.P. to Weedy, and shout out to Jackson, California. You feel me? Shout out to the whole west side of Chicago. Shout out to the whole south side of Chicago, and the north side, and the northwest, and the southeast, all that shit. You feel me? But yeah, that's my homeboy Weedy. You feel me? And I got two other homeboys I want to talk about. So I want to talk about my homeboys JD and Jessie. So JD and Jessie, they basically they not really from G Street and JC, but they from here. You feel me? They got family still here. I know they family, so they pops pretty much was it still is one of my pops' main homies. You feel me? So JD and Jessie, they was probably like 5 years older than me. And so basically, excuse me for a second. So basically JD and Jessie, two black ass niggas. And me and my cousin homie G, aka Antonio Holmes. Me and him a year apart, but he used to tag along with me and my pops and my sister a lot. That's my pop's nephew, my pop's great nephew, and so So Man, we call him Man, aka Gucci, aka Antonio. So Man is like he could be considered like a big homie, but not really, because me and him was kind of like, you feel me, we was like tag team partners a lot. So it wasn't like I looked at him as for like advice, really. It was like he would introduce me to a lot of people based on me being his younger cousin, but it ain't like I went to him for advice a lot, but I did used to ask him questions a lot about shit that I knew he knew more, because he just knew people more than I knew these people. It wasn't like he knew a lot of shit. It was just like he knew a lot about certain people in the street life. So yeah, he helped me out a lot. But as far as when we was kids, we was always going to school together and shit, and always hanging out, at my grandparents' house, which was the same household as my pops. So yeah, this is my second cousin right here, Antonio, and so we just like me. He was athletic as well. His pops wasn't really around, so he gravitated towards his mama's side of the family, which is my side. And so my pops pretty much being, him being the uncle, he pretty much kept him close. Always had me around him. Always had him around me to pretty much play that big brother role. So pretty much he was like a brother more than a big homie. You feel me? But JD and Jessie, they was like my big homies, who I later on considered, like cousins in a way. Because they pops always called me his cousin, But so they pops, what I'm saying, his name's Jerry. My pops, they call him Bobby. So they all athletes, they all could play ball and shit like that. So they used to have this little softball team in the early 2000s where they were all the the old school cats, at the time from the neighborhood. They would go down there to Haran Park, which is on the west side, near Kedzie and Van Buren, and they would have these Sunday afternoon ball games and stuff, and my pops used to have us tag along with them, you feel me, and Jerry would bring JD and Jessie along, and so we talked, me, Man, JD, Jessie, we used to talk shit to them like they was our ops or some shit. But it was all fun and games. It was just how we used to play around back in the day, Me and Man, we basically grew up as brothers who was really cousins, but everybody around the neighborhood knew who the fuck we was. You feel me? They knew that these Alcorn kids, this what I'm saying, they knew we was the youngins coming up out of everybody that they knew in the Alcorn family. They knew that we was something different. We was young, knowing all these teenagers and shit, knowing their business, knowing their names, knowing who is who, knowing, what I'm saying, we know what's going on. We not dumb, bro. We was intelligent the whole time. That's why people to this day can't separate me from my rap shit, because they know me so well. So when they hear me trying to escape this bullshit that we all stuck in still, they don't understand it, or they can't support it. But I wanna give much appreciation to my homeboys JD and Jessie. Whenever I would send them music, they would react and reach out and give me positive feedback. Actually, JD was actually in one of my music videos before, called Third Eye Open. Whenever I called him, shit, it was like I could have had him in every music video, but I at that point I just hit him up. So it's like, man, so shit, I done shot videos with a lot of motherfuckers at this point. I ain't got you or nothing. And me and you know each other, so he came through. No problem. But anyway, so yeah, we used to do those softball games and stuff every Sunday afternoon. Then after that, You know, we all slide on we'll slide on Adams Street off of Francisco, get some nachos, holler at Jimmy Lloyd. You feel me? He have his cart out, and we would buy nachos and stuff. Well, Pops would buy nachos with the works, the cheese, the meat, the hot peppers. I mean, loaded with hot peppers, my nigga. Like, I ain't never had no nachos like that, boy. But way better than what they give you at the theater, you know. But man, those are the days, you know. As a youngin', all we cared about was sports, riding our bicycles, and just shit, just trying to live it up until we got to go to school the next day. That's all it was about for Robbo. Now I want to fast forward a little bit to 2005 once again. So, like I said about my homeboy Weedy, or my big homie Weedy. So Weedy got killed in September of that year. It was August or September when I started school. So, but I know that I was in school by the time, I heard what happened. But, so I'm gonna fast forward to bring in JD and Jessie. So, I believe it was Labor Day around that time, and so it had to be the month of September, right? Or maybe it was August. I'm not even gonna front on y'all. I don't really be following these holidays, because it's like, once I figured out a lot of this shit was bull, I just never, I wasn't worried about keeping up with it no more, because it's like, a holiday to me is not really, it don't really resonate with me if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do anyway. Like, I don't really do the most for my mama on Mother's Day if I just randomly do anything for my mama anyway, any other day. Or if I randomly do something for my grandma anyway, I don't wait till holidays to buy people stuff or to check on them and stuff like that. You're gonna hear from me just randomly, but so Labor Day, right? My pops still cool with Jerry, still cool with still in cahoots at this time. So they had moved, right? They moved out the city to Richton Park at this time. So Pops, he grabbed me, and we went out there, to eat up some barbecue at Jerry crib. He barbecued and shit. And JD and Jessie was there, So we eating and shit, catching up with each other, cause I'm 14 at this time, so they ain't really seen me since I got a little bit older. So we just catching up, and then the older folks, they talk. Jerry, his wife, my pops, and whoever else is over. I don't remember. But so eventually, JD and Jessie, so they like, they like in their late teens at this time, and they want to go, joyriding, I guess, right? JD driving, me and Jessie, we tagging along. So JD, he want to go. We go towards his girlfriend's house in her neighborhood, which is not too far, but it's not around the corner. So we riding and shit. And, my pops trust me with them, of course. So so we riding through this neighborhood and shit, and we see a lot of Mexicans and shit, bro. And we see these two Mexican Latino brothers walking down the street, walking side by side. One skinny and the other one fat. They look like the number 10. So the fat dude, I believe he had his shirt off. It was nighttime at this time. The fat dude, I believe he got a baseball bat in his hand or something, or a pipe, some type of weapon. So so I'm peeping this. They peeping it too in the car, and we like, man, what the fuck? What they on, bro? They on some bullshit, ain't they? And we laughing about it at first. So something happens to where JD let me and Jessie out the car. We driving down this street, and you know, he make a left turn down this long block, and I believe his girlfriend stayed down the end of that block. So I believe he I don't know why he let us out the car or something, but I know we was gonna meet him down there at the house while we walked down the street. It wasn't like we was smoking or nothing. It was just like, I don't know, but I know I was with Jessie, so I was cool. So and Jessie is younger than JD. He a little bit younger than JD, but yeah, we walking down the block, right? You know, it's a long block, remind you. So we just really started walking, really, and so we see these two Mexican guys. They walking again. We see them. Well, we done turned the corner. Now we on this other block. We can see JD done pulled off down that same block. We see him up the street. And now we walking, you know, following the car and shit. And then we noticed that the two Mexican guys, they just turned the corner that we just turned. So now they behind us. But not really behind us. They're a little bit distant. So but we know, we watching out and shit. So we steady walking and shit. And then we noticed that you know, they walking, they still walking with the same direction. So I believe we decided to, I don't know, we kept walking, bro. But I know they changed their little path for a minute. And they crossed the street. And they still behind us though. So they crossed the street. And then so we kept walking. And then they wound up crossing back over to the block where we was. I'm like, damn, why they cross back over here, bro? So next thing I know, I'm looking back, and I noticed the little fat motherfucker. He getting closer. He trying to like speed walk towards us. And I look back, and the nigga put his hands behind his back. Nigga had his baseball bat. And I noticed anytime you turn around real fast and the motherfucker behind you and they had their hands with a weapon, like, nah, bro. They on bullshit. So I don't know what I said, but I know that it was up. I know that we both knew. Me and Jessie, we hit it. So we just started running down the motherfucking street. And I hear Jessie like, JD, these niggas on some bullshit. And we hit it. We running towards his girlfriend crib. And JD come out eventually. And eventually we got back in the whip. Just hit it. Got out that motherfucker. Got back to the crib safe and sound. Never told nobody about that shit. And let me say this. The very next day was the first day of school for me. This was my first day of school, the next day, bro. So this was on my mind, though. My first day of school. And then eventually, that's when I found out about what happened to my homeboy Weedy. My big homie Weedy. You feel me? So those are some of the big homies that I had in my life, you feel me? They pretty much was there to keep me, even if they mistakenly got me in some bullshit, they was there, you know, to hold me down. You feel me? So I'm gonna give a shout out JD Jessie, Worley, the Worley brothers, you feel me? R.I.P. Weedy. And this be P.O.C., the young prince of the shy, big homies, episode 2, no, part 2 of episode, what is this, 4? Is this 4, my nigga? Nah, this 3. Yeah, this 3. My bad. Players fuck up. But anyway, I want to say peace and love. And it's important to have a big homie. If you don't got a father figure, make sure you got a big homie. Because even if you got a father, like I got a father, you still need to talk to somebody as an uncle role, as a big bro role, as a older cousin type influence. You know, certain things you can't just tell your parents because you don't want to worry your parents all your life. You feel me? So that's where we stand with it. This Mr. A. This is the Corn Man. Don't go against the grain. Peace. Teach. Evolve. All that. And take care of your kids too. If you take care of your kids, nobody else will have to take care of them. That's pretty much what this is about. You wouldn't have to have a big homie if motherfuckers just take care of their kids, right? Plain and simple. You know, take care of your kids properly. Meaning, be there to put money on the bills and put food in the motherfucking refrigerator, and also be there to listen to your kids. Because if you think you know everything as a parent, what makes you think that what comes from your intelligent body of yours just won't be as smart, won't be as conniving, won't be as clever? You feel me? So that's where we stand with it. Until next time, peace out. Big homies.